Greetings to all in the second part for today. Thank you to all who support me. This motivates me to please you even more. Let's not linger. Let's get started. The first story of the second part from the user. Throwaway, let's listen her. I, 23F, am getting married to my fiancé, 24M, in a month. He has an identical twin brother with whom he's keeping a bit of a distance with cause of his past possessive behavior of wanting to share everything with each other, from interests, hobbies, and even friends. His brother got eloped to his wife, 27F, and even suggested to my fiancé to do the same on the same day as him. But of course he shut that down quickly as we both agreed on having a wedding already. However, I ended up being contacted by my fiancé's brother requesting me to wear his wife's wedding dress from their elopement to my wedding, which I obviously turned down, telling him that I've already got a specific wedding dress on my mind. He dropped the subject, and for 2 weeks I didn't hear about it again, so I thought that was the end of it. But yesterday, my fiancé's brother and his wife showed up at our house. Uninvited, may I add. Got up Esail's wedding dress, and then literally asked me to try out right here, and that they'd make adjustments if the size doesn't fit. Thank God my husband stepped in and kicked them both out of our house, even though it did end up with a really big argument between my fiancé and his brother. I got contacted again later on by my Bill, who said that my inability to make any compromises in order for his and his brother's wedding experiences to be intertwined is straining their relationship. Honestly, at this point, I'm just getting the creeps from Dill, and my gut's telling me that him and Sil may attempt to sabotage our wedding out of revenge. And even my husband's agrees with the sentiment. We're now strongly considering to uninvite both my Bill and Sil from our wedding, but my husband's still a bit reluctant to do it, yet cause of the inevitable drama it'll cause with his family. Author update this story. Okay, so a lot has happened in these past 2 days. So to summarize, me and my fiancé decided to uninvite Bill and Esiel from our wedding. Neither me or my fiancé trust them not to cause a scene at the wedding, and my fiancé already had a very strained relationship with his twin brother, including recent conflicts that include his brother trying to convince him to cancel our wedding and instead have us elope on the same day as him and his wife and my fiancé, not having his twin the best man at his wedding. We told the fiancé's parents about this incident, and it was a mixed bag. On one hand, they'd agreed with us that my fiancé's brother went too far with this whole twin thing this time. But they also begged my fiancé not to disinvite his twin brother from his wedding, as it would irreversibly destroy their relationship, and that they could talk to him to tone down his behavior. However, my fiancé told them that he was tired of always having to keep the peace, and that inviting his brother to our wedding would only cause him unnecessary stress while not fixing any of their actual issues. So he's gonna keep his distance from him from now on. He also told his parents that we're gonna hire security at our wedding and to not try to help Bill and Sil sneak in. Otherwise, they'd also have to escort them as well. My fiancé's mom literally threw a tantrum over this decision and outright blamed me for trying to break up their twin relationship. Thankfully, my fiancé stood up for me and told her that his brother is the only one responsible for breaking up any relationship, and that if she keeps talking to me like that, she'll be free to join him and his wife on the blacklist of the security guard from our wedding. Surprisingly, my fiancé's dad actually took our side and scolded his mom as well, and both of them managed to get her to apologize to me and accept my fiancé's decision. However, it's safe to say I'm not her favorite person anymore. Today I received a new message from my future Bial, and it wasn't pretty. I don't know if I can even share everything here, but he sent me a long text message where he called me, among other things, a worthless, and that he'll pray each day that my future children with his brother will be miscarried. I showed my fiancé his text, and he was absolutely enraged. He immediately called his brother, and that convo, it wasn't pretty either. But this time it was from my fiancé's side. He called his brother names, curses, and threatened to call the police on him if he ever dares to contact him or me in any way, shape or form. All while, I could clearly hear his brother sobbing on the phone. Both of us ended up blocking him on all social medias, not before taking screenshots of the messagey to have proof for the police in case it gets there. And now my fiancé is planning to change our locks and even install cameras. We never gave his brother a key, but my fiancé doesn't want to risk it regardless. We also blocked Esil after she made some comments on my social medias, where she also called me a whose only purpose in life is to break up families. We talked with my fiancé's parents about these comments, and while his father said he'll try to convince BIL to get into therapy, as he finally seems to recognize his behavior as unhinged, his mother said that she thinks it was just a drunken comment from him, and that he's just hurt and confused over his brother's decision to remove him from his life. And frankly, I could tell that she was subtly trying to pin this on me too, but I don't think she had the courage to do it openly in front of her son and husband. So to wrap this up, we're still gonna have our wedding, but now we're gonna have to spend even more money for extra security, both for the wedding and our home. And it only took for over half of my fiancé's close family to start hating my guts. That what I think about this story, there is something weirdly incestual and codependent going on from the brother's side. Thank God Oop's fiancé is actually backing her up. The fact that Esil is on her husband's side is wild though. Why the hell would she be alright with her soon-to-be SIL wearing her wedding dress? Let's see user comment. I have twin brothers who wound up with rhyming nicknames, not because my parents planned it that way, but because they had no idea they were having twins until the second one started coming out. It was 1970, so no ultrasound. One was behind the other, so they didn't feel two, and their heartbeats were so closely synced that the OB just thought it was a big baby with an echo. The hospital was pressuring my parents to name them before they were discharged. And they were not only processing twins, they were processing 5 kids under 6. So my dad was coming up with wild stuff like Wolfgang and Helmut, and my mom was like, Bob, we're not German. In the end, they were given first names that started with D, the same middle names as our grandfathers, and my mom had to put nail polish on their toenails to tell them apart. They very much developed their own personalities and stopped speaking to each other about 15 years ago. The next story from the user, Chipmunk Under Duress, let's listen. I love my partner very much. We were planning to get married this year. I don't believe that is feasible anymore. Their family recently hit a major financial crisis. They were originally quite wealthy and are used to a high standard of living, so this was a big shock to all of them. My partner is now the sole breadwinner. I am all for them supporting their family through this, and I would love to be there for my partner, but I am having a hard time agreeing with some of their choices. For example, my partner would rather sacrifice all of his assets and money than have his family downsize theirs. I feel as though they should sell their mansion and many luxury cars that have a high cost of upkeep to something more affordable. The profits would help them get by for a while too. I can't bring myself to say this to my partner because I don't want to seem unsupportive. All of this makes me very, very sad for our future. I know it sounds selfish and shallow, but I was looking forward to having a good life with my partner. Now I feel like I either have to put that life on hold for the unforeseeable future. We don't know how long it will take for the financial crisis to resolve. It might never, and they might be financially dependent of my partner for a while, or be the one to finance everything, which is not the life I want. Sure, for a few months, a year, I could pay for all our dates and trips just so that we could still enjoy our life. But then what? Will I truly be able to say that I don't mind giving up on the life that I want, just so that someone else can live theirs? I don't know. Maybe I'm a bad partner for saying all of this, but for now, I'll keep this secret on Reddit and go greet my partner with a smile. Because I love them, and they're a really good person, even if this time I have to shoulder the cost of them being a good person. Author update this story. A few days ago, I made a post on how my partner was making bad decisions on their finances to support their family's very privileged lifestyle. I have since talked to them, and I'm glad I did. Turns out, my partner didn't really want to do a lot of it, but their parents have been pressuring them, hounding them every day, attempting to guilt them through crying jags on the phone so that they would take out a $100K loan on their behalf. They can't take out the loan themselves because the dad hasn't worked in 20 years, and the mom has not worked her whole life. They've been living off of investments that they lucked out on, but has since caused them issues. My partner has a sister who doesn't work and isn't in college. Granted, half of the reason is that she was recovering from a skin condition, but the other half is that college isn't too much of a priority for her. I'm so pissed at these people. My partner hasn't been eating much beyond instant noodles and week-old leftovers, while their family still has enough money for groceries and proper meals. Like, that's so effed up. Your child is starving themselves to support your privileged ass who cannot accept that most people have to work for a living. Your child is working their ass off for their living. How could you do that to your child? Like, get a job? Sell your luxury items? Sell your cars? Your multi-million house? Not go on that overseas trip for the mom's birthday when you knew your savings was running out? How could you ask your child to sell their car, take out a loan for you, unless it was the absolute last resort? How could you guilt trip them this way? What shitty selfish parents. The house has too many emotional attachments. The dad's ego would be bruised from feeling like he's taking back the things he gave his family? Ha ha ha. This family is so unhinged. Sure, they're nice people. But how nice can you be if you would do this to your child? I am so pissed. I've been buying my partner food, treating them to nice meals, buying them flowers, when they are with me, so that they still get to enjoy their life and have moments of happiness. I am happy to do this for my partner, but FCK the family for putting both me and my partner in this position. What I think about it. It's difficult when it seems like what is happening is that OP's partner is sending so much money to their parents that they can no longer cover household expenses. So OP then has to cover those expenses herself. At that point, OP's is functionally the one supporting the in-laws. OP is now having to pay for the entire wedding when that wasn't the plan. Because partner gave all their money to their family. OP and partner were planning on saving together to buy a house. But partner gave all their money to family, so now it's just OP's savings. Partner gave all their grocery money to their family, so now OP is paying for 100% of groceries. It's one thing to decide to spend all your disposable income on family. It's another thing to send so much money to family that you can't pay for joint expenses, and your partner has to pay for all of them. If OP is cool with doing that in the short term while her partner tries to establish new boundaries, that's fine. But long term, this really does not seem okay. Users commented this story. I had to break up with someone I loved very much because they were sacrificing everything for their sister. She wanted a farm and to raise animals and show dogs. She found a great property, but had zero money to put down despite living for free, and with 3 little kids with their mom. My boyfriend sold a paid-for truck and took a second mortgage out in his property and co-signed for the farm she wanted. She got paid to do nothing for the company he owned, and she demanded a raise with a bunch of money up front to remodel the house. Then she wanted a show van for her dogs. And then she needed money for some farm animals for her kids. Then she confessed she was about to lose the property because she hadn't paid for several months. Boyfriend maxed out credit cards for him and his business, sold his paid-for motorcycle, sold one of his company's trucks, took out a huge loan, and sold almost everything he owned so she could live her dream. What made it worse was she had a live-in boyfriend who hoarded his money so he wasn't paying for anything despite living a lavish lifestyle. And we learned his sister was making decent money, showing or breeding or boarding or grooming dogs, so she actually had made enough money to cover everything. Plus, he learned their parents had been giving her money as well. I wanted to marry this man and keep him forever. He will always be the one I loved most, but I couldn't stay. His family was fine with him, working himself sick and running his company into the ground to keep the golden child afloat. Even now, years later, he still covers for her. She even got almost $1 million because the Scroogey boyfriend, or later her husband, had died and had a hell of a good insurance policy. She used most of the money to go on trips around the world with her new, much younger boy toy. And both her daughters got knocked up in high school, one of them had 2 by graduation. And my ex helps them out as well. My grandpa used to say, "Sometimes you're so deep and dumb that you forget what fresh air smells like." I think OOP's partner is too deep in the mess to think clearly. If OOP is considering leaving anyway, there's no harm in trying to tell their partner that what they're doing is crazy, and he needs to put up boundaries quick, fast, and in a hurry. If the partner reacts negatively to that, then OOP will know that it's time to jump ship with no regrets. Thanks to everyone who watched to the end. I began to notice that there are already more of us. I am very glad to see that you like my videos. That's all for today. I love everyone. Bye to everyone.